I'm a composer, and I've heard my music played around the world. But the first piece of music I ever composed was absolutely terrible, and I was the only one who didn't know. How could I? I mean, it was the first time I was composing anything. And I remember I would go to the piano and play it over and over and over again, sometimes for hours, until it just felt natural, like a reflex. As you can imagine from my family, it started to sound like an alarm clock that wouldn't shut off in the morning. And I remember one time my mom came up to me while I was playing and gently encouraged me to try something else. But looking back, I wasn't trying to make anything good or perfect. I just loved making, and I fell in love with the creative process. If not for that first bad piece, there wouldn't have come a second or a third, or one that earned me a full ride scholarship to school, or one national award, or my first international premiere. No, the first one, the terrible one, made the rest possible. But I think we live in a different world now. We don't have to make the first bad piece, first draft, first anything anymore. We can simply type in a prompt, and generative AI will give us something, good or bad. Every business leader, every tech company, and every headline is essentially telling us the same thing. Use these tools or get left behind. While they're creating better and better generative AI, we're at risk of losing a valuable skill: the ability to let our first drafts suck. And with it, the chance to ever find out what we could have made, where it could have taken us, and who we could have been. And I know what you're thinking. Usually we want to get advice about how to make something not suck. But I honestly think we've gotten too good at that. I think we have tools to generate something passable in a matter of seconds. So we require a reframe at this point. How do we let our first draft suck now? Using the experience that I've gained listening and learning from musicians and artists around the world and leaning into the things that AI can't do for you, I want to share 3 things that I've learned. The first step to letting your first draft suck is to take your time and slow down. When we slow down and take time, we get something that AI can't give us, and that's the experience of making. Artists love to tell a story about Picasso to make this point. Supposedly, he was sitting in a cafe, and a fan recognized him and approached him and asked for a drawing from him. Picasso takes a napkin and quickly sketched out something on it, but then quotes the fan $1,000,000 for it. Now, the fan protests and replies, "This only took you a minute to make." Picasso replies, "No, it took me my entire life." Now, we really don't know if he said that, but I think it's the right answer either way. AI can give us the napkin in a matter of seconds, but it cannot give us the life that made the napkin worth $1,000,000. And that's the difference. And that difference is what slowing down and taking your time protects. The second key to letting your first drafts suck is to be open to feedback, but not ruled by it. I was at dinner with a filmmaker one evening, and we were talking about the creative process and showing people your work. And he said something that has stuck with me that I want to share with you. He said, when people are offering you commentary about your work or they're offering feedback, they're almost always wrong. But the place in which they notice something is almost always right. And that place deserves more care and more attention from you. And this illustrates the delicate balance that feedback has in our process. On the one hand, we can scrap everything and completely take a new direction. Or we can double down and continue forging ahead with our original idea. In addition, we have to keep in mind that not all feedback is created equal. When someone is offering you commentary, they're using their unique life experience that they've gained, sometimes over years. Here's the thing. AI can't give you that unique life perspective. It can't give you wisdom. Rather, it can only give you a best guess on what the average reaction might be. And with so much at stake, we have to ask ourselves, is this something we want to trust our life and our art with? Real feedback comes when there's something on the line for everybody involved. And that's why it's such a delicate process. You have to look somebody in the eye, tell them the truth about what you think with as much care and kindness as possible. And on the other hand, you have to listen, truly listen to what someone is offering you, knowing that they're trying to help. But this is a pivotal process to letting your first draft suck. And if we're honest, this is almost central to the human experience. And it's one that AI cannot replicate. Simply put, it's not human. So surrounding yourselves with people you trust to hear their feedback is central and pivotal to letting your first drafts suck. Finally, to let your first draft suck, you have to find others who are on the same path as you. Now, it can be very isolating when you're creating something and you're alone with your own thoughts. But the power of creativity is what it can offer the community and the world at large, hopefully in a meaningful way. As I said before, all you have to do is type in a prompt and you'll get a product. AI doesn't require you to attend class and sit next to someone you don't know. It doesn't require you to ask for help from your peers or mentors. I know this more than most. I literally cannot create my art without the help of others. I don't play all the instruments of the orchestra, let alone to the level that some people spend their entire life trying to attain. And to show you the power of finding others on the same path as you, I want to share with you a piece of music that I composed. It's called Gradus ad Paradisum, or Steps to Paradise. And I composed it when I was around 18 years old, and I was inspired by my own struggle and journey with mental health. I wanted to create something that mimicked, through music, the inhale and exhale of our breath. The first version that I want to show you is produced by virtual instruments. It's a computer trying to simulate what an actual instrument sounds like. Every note is in the right place, is at the right rhythm, tempo, etc. The second is with human performers, with actual musicians. Here's the first clip. Here's the second. Here's the difference. The first clip was made by a machine that didn't have to show up at the practice room, put in hours and hours and hours of effort. Never had to hear that its work was bad and deal with that feeling afterwards. It never had to show up the next day to do it over and over and over again. The second clip comes from the human experience, from putting in the time, the effort, the life experience, the care, the tone, the control, all aspects that are necessary to transform sound into music. Think about the thing that you've been meaning to start, that thing that's important to you that you may not have gotten to yet, or the goal that you have for your life. I want to encourage you not to hand it to AI. In fact, I want to take it a step further. I want to encourage you not to hand it to anyone else just yet, but to let it suck by yourself. Let it suck for a long time and in front of people that you trust. And it's okay. Things will get better as you go. Of course, practice makes perfect. But this is the only way the person who could finish it ever gets made.